Go. Hi guys, it's Jenny here. I am going to show you very quickly, I'm going to run through again real quick how to do this step by step so you have actual video, and I will send you pictures too. So we're going to start off by getting this parted off. So Ashton here, this is Ash, you know, my daughter. So she has kind of a medium thick, thinnish, kind of just medium textured hair. So I'm going to part kind of right here. Put your hands down, please. Okay. Thank you. So kind of behind her ear a little bit. Remember what I said, this is not an exact science. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you want it to be kind of in the middle here. So part right here. Here. And then once we have that parted off, I'm going to take this and pin it real quick. Alright, so we're going to put this up as high as we can get it. Thankfully, all of her hair will fit up into a ponytail. If your hair does not, you want to get it as much as you can up in this ponytail, and then we are going to just be pinning and hairspraying. Make sure we don't want any hair down if we absolutely can help it. I'm using my little wonder that I told you guys about. Kind of see that? You can just keep hold that until you're brushing that and get it all the way to the top. I did pre-curl Ashton's hair just so I wouldn't have to sit here and you guys would watch me wand, because that'd just be a load of fun. But if you are starting fresh, you don't have to curl first. It's going to save you a bunch of time if you don't, in fact. So this will be your first step. So getting this nice and high. Use a band or a couple bands, depending on the thickness of your hair. Nice and tight. And then look down. Spray. And brush until all those little pieces are up. And then have your child look up, because it'll poof out. Sometimes it'll poof out and you'll see those little pieces coming out. At that point, you can keep doing that until you get all those little flyaways. So, there's that. And this is where the time you would take to curl your hair. Hairspray in. So I kind of like my 1-inch curling iron. It's kind of what I prefer. I do like my wand a lot. That's a good way of doing it. Wand is a good way as well. Or curl formers. We've talked about those. And I can tell you about those if you have any questions. I bought mine at Sally's. They're a little pricey at first, but I mean, we use ours all the time. Here's, whoops. Good way of, okay, don't do that. It's a way of not to use the wand. Holding on to it at the very, very end, obviously. It's a hot wand. Please don't put your finger on it like I just did. That's a good way to wand. This gives you a little bit different look, if you can tell, versus my curling iron. The wand, you really have a little bit of an edge. It doesn't get a curl. With the curling iron, you can get pretty much all the way down. So whatever your preference is on the curl. So we've got curls. Okay, so our next step is parting off for the braid and hoof. So again, not an exact science, but I kind of, I think what we've kind of figured out is kind of mid-eyebrow-ish. There. So it's leaving about between 2 and 3 inches at the bottom. Just so it looks nice and even on both sides. It's a bonus for sure.
They make me sweat.
Whoa. And then you'll throw your brush. So, got that. Alright, now.
I'm on Miranda.
Alright, relax.
Okay.
So it's time for us to braid. A little hairspray in it. And also, if if I were you, I would take the time just to put a little bit of curl in the ends. Don't obviously make it too tight up here because then you're gonna have to work through that curl for the braids. Same thing on both sides, and then you can also do the top, which I did not show you. You want to keep this nice and straight, only the top being curled a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna poof that. Having to poof through curls is not fun. Okay, so we're gonna take back combing powder that I told you all about. Mine is the Big Sexy. You can probably find just about, you can probably find back combing powder about anywhere now these days. I like the Sexy Hair products. That's what I carry here at Blondie's.
That's what they call
Plug. So we're gonna put a little bit of that. And if your child has super, super thick hair, this is a step you will not need to do. Ashton has my hair, God bless her. So
Dang it.
we need a little bit here. So doing that just kind of thickens it up and actually helps the little pieces to stay in there a little bit. So that, along with some hairspray. Remember, angle going up so it doesn't poof out weird. And you're just doing a normal braid. You don't want to make it super tight, but it also doesn't need to be real loose either.
So medium.
And then we're going to braid to about right here, kind of the top of the pony, like that. So here's the fun part, kind of give you that look like in the picture that Bree sent you guys. We're gonna make sure this is loose. If you have this held tight, this will not work. So make sure you're just holding it loosely. I like to kind of start here. I wouldn't mess with this. It gets kind of weird. So just start kind of in your first little braids and then just loosely work with this and kind of pull it. Pulling these sides. This is gonna kind of loosen it up, give it kind of that really neat look.
This is my song.
And it might look kind of funny at first, like it's doesn't look great and you're hating it. Don't hate it yet.
Don't hate it yet.
Doesn't need to be perfect yet either. We can fix all that at the end. So, all right, now we've got our little braid right here. You want to pull it kind of tight so it's not poofing out. I'm going to go right here and grab a regular bobby pin.
Put it in your
And
mouth.
I'm going to, here, don't do that, wrap it and pin it about right here. Wrap it kind of around the ponytail because we're going to ponytail all that up and I want this to be in the ponytail when we end up with the second rubber band around it. That way it definitely, gets attached here. Okay, there's one braid. We're going to do the same thing over here.
Do we turn?
There you go. It's your turn. Not Adrian. Oops. Wow.
This side is my good side. Because it's like makeup's done.
Yeah, maybe I should just do that one side. Before and after. A little
Before.
powder, a little hairspray. A little braid. Again, very, not super tight, not real loose. Angling, which see, I did not angle. This is what you're gonna end up with, that funky little thing right there. So, good example of what not to do. So,
That was nice
angle.
of you to do that.
Oh, sure, you know, I was doing it for you guys. It certainly wasn't me. Okay, so now we're better. Turn this way. Angled here. And our braid.
I wasn't taking a selfie of this side of my face.
Okay, now, about right there. Loosely kind of pulling that out.
It's pretty good, actually. I'm not normal.
And we're gonna do the same thing over here. Pull that tight. And we're gonna take another bobby pin. Putting that over here. Go. So you can see we've got both braids coming up this direction. And I've got them pinned each way around that braid, or around that pony. So, I'm gonna spin back around this way. Okay, now, we're gonna work on our volume. It's not necessarily a poof. I'm not going to go huge this year with the poof, but we're gonna have a little bit of volume. And you can kind of see.
I mean, I love brushing it out at the end.
I know, Ashley loves it. I've not straightened her hair. I just kind of took my big curling iron and I kind of curled the ends. So what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of hairspray. If your child has straight hair, this is not necessary. But the perfectionist in me that likes to have this. Just a little bit of flat iron right here. Clearly not needing to go through the curls you just put in there, but just right there where the poof will be. Okay. So much better. Okay, now we're going to start at the back. All right, so I've been saying about 1 inch partings. You can go between, 3/4 of an inch, half inch, whatever you think is best. The more backcombing you have in this, the easier it's going to be. So if you want to do the half inch, 3/4 inch, that's good for me. I like it. But if your child has a ton of hair, it's not necessarily the better thing. Do the 1 inch partings. So sprinkle in your backcombing powder. Use your little wonder. Back comb. It's going to look like a hot mess. If it looks like a hot mess, you've done it correct. Won't matter. All this is going back under. I like to kind of clean up the sides a little bit, pulling those in. Like that. Okay, now, you just keep going like that until you work your way up to the front.
I want to get back here so I can get how much powder you put on there.
Sounds good.
I should have gone the other way.
You're totally fine. Little sprinkle. That's probably about right. I usually go crazy, but this is about what you need. It just makes it dirty enough. Be careful not to get your brush into the braid. I found myself getting very close to that. I get going with my poof and I don't realize what I'm doing. So, there's something to consider. Okay. So we're getting close to the top, or the front rather. So I'm gonna take a little bit bigger part, and I'm not gonna put as much. Well, I'll put my normal amount in this one, but the top one or the very front one, I'm not going to, because we want it to look nice and smooth.
Feels weird.
All right. A little bit there. Just enough to have it kind of stand up for you, but still able to make it smooth. Okay, weirdo. Okay, now, here is what I have found to be the best way to pin back a poof into a pony. 2 bobby pins. Ashton will hold for me. I'll take
I'm
this.
gonna go around to the other side.
Okay.
Away from both.
You have to be kind of careful about this because you can jack up your poof. But back here, there's not a whole lot of backcombing. But if it works right, it works really good. Perfect. Kind of smooth this. Same thing over here. Turn around. Crisscross. Yeah. All right. So you're gonna spend a little bit of time before you pin it, just to make sure this looks all nice and smooth. Here. And this is not a big poof this year, so try to tame it down as much as possible. And if you've got a lot of backcombing, you look, I'm pushing this down, it's going down and it's not lumpy or bumpy, it's still smooth. And that's because you have that foundation laid in there. Okay, so got both sides in there. Hold this, and I'll take one of these. I think the best way to have this stay is to put a bobby pin in both directions. All right, no help, please. And you'll be taking these out, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Honestly, I like to start on the opposite side. It's kind of throwing me off, honestly, so we're going to pull that in again. No, that's going to hold your poof in there. Push. And you can kind of move that a little bit, but it's not going to really matter until we get it up. All right, now, see the other rubber band?
Isn't this fabulous?
All right, so at this point, you want to make sure you have everything. You've got your ends for the braid. You've got your poof. Here's my braid. You have it all in there. So kind of trying to gently pin or rubber band all this together without messing up your poof. As many times as you can get the rubber band to go through. Then we'll move the rubber bands here.
It's moving.
And poof. With the child who won't sit still. Okay. And then, obviously this is not your competition bow from last year, but we're going to just use it because I didn't want to get hairspray on the pretty new one. And band that one in over this. And if you can see, going back here, I kind of make this higher just because I think it makes the bow sit up a little. Now this is obviously a different bow, a little bigger than the one we have this year, so you may not need to do this. But I think it works really good. You can still push it up a little bit, but if you start up a little higher, it gives it a little bit of height and makes the bow set up a little higher. Okay, now at this point, we've got the bow in, a poof looks okay. And the kid that can't keep her hands out of her hair is hands in her hair. Okay, keep your head straight. Now this is when you'll just take your time to kind of adjust, making sure everything is right. The braid looks good. I think I spoke about hairpins in a couple of the classes. I'm going to take some hairpins and kind of adjust those braids to make it look really cool. Hairpins. So this is a hairpin. If you're familiar with a hairpin. So here's the difference, bobby pin, hairpin. Alright, so hairpin is what we'll be working with. This will allow you to kind of take the sides of these, because they can get kind of wild. Take the sides if you feel like you've got a couple that are kind of crazy and they're sticking up. I'll push them down. And it'll help you pull in the braids too. So I think that looks kind of cool too. So it kind of allows us to pull that braid out a little bit more. And it makes it tighter. And you gals with thicker hair, you may not need this. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna do this on the other side.
I didn't either until then.
It was a pretty baby too.
Sorry.
I didn't know Kate had a baby. Right?
Really, is Kate married?
Oh, it's very sincere and you can.
Conversation is fun behind me. Everyone's hearing who we think is cuter on the Royals. Oh, just me and my ADD, no worries.
The background.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have our cute little braid, our poof, our bow. Now, stop touching your bow, child.
Flattened out.
This kid. Okay, so depending on if you are old, seniors are different. So everybody else, you look straight, please. Unless you're a senior, you're going to wear your hair down. So if you want a little bit of volume, I like to put a little bit of the back combing powder in here. And same thing with seniors. This is a good way to start. Back combing powder. And underneath it here, no one's going to see this, so put a little bit of back combing. And a tiny bit up here. Not too crazy.
I have really short hair,
So, and had I put a little bit more curl in there, it would be a little bit more substantial, but you get the idea. So, here's your cute little puppy curly pony. Oh. Okay, so there's that. This is if you are on all the other teams minus the seniors. So if you're a senior, this is kind of what I would do. Now there's a couple different variations on this that I've seen. I've seen a couple people have just like kind of pinned it up already like in a bun type thing with braids or with curls coming out of it. And if, you know, whatever Bree is good with. But I think the kind of what she's wanting is kind of just curls. And if you have longer hair, you might have to do something like that because if you have a ton of long hair, obviously it's not going to stay like this. So, and if you're pinning this up, it's better if you use a curling iron versus a wand because your ends are still going to be curled versus a little straighter. So that's something to think about too. So she's kind of wanting you to have more of an updo because seniors can't have their hair flying around. Just start with the bottom layer, kind of pin in.
And there's the house is built in
Wonderful change artists.
they were talking about they got about 7 so fine but anyway so we were telling them we get down there and check on it and we really like to sell it. Yeah. A couple times we had a realtor contact us about selling it.
How would they not know? Well, I guess people don't follow.
Well, anyway, so
Salvi's pretty identifiable. So
next time we visit, you guys slow it down. We'll stay one of the homes. Well,
I had my friends ran into Salvi in Chicago.
and
That's big. I'm just gonna try some advice on it.
Whoop! Don't do that.
well, so Warren says, do you know buying it?
They're better than
That would give us somewhere. I would check to make sure everything down in there, but that's near the hits. We don't have to sit with them and hotel because all those homes that are on the vacation rental property,
I don't know why he covers.
So obviously, I'm putting one pin in this,
so he said,
and seniors, I would put multiple pins in each curl because, you know, you're not just going to prom, you're flipping around. So, lots of pins.
here's the deal.
I think that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what she's kind of wanting.
And so we started laughing. We said, no, we wouldn't do that. One time we had somebody contact us. 1980.
All right.
There's a lot
So there you have it.
in our subdivision. Bob went on realtor.
Do the chair spin.
Our subdivision. And filled up a lot in our subdivision.
Might seem overwhelming, but don't worry. It's actually quite easy. You just take your time, and you'll do just fine. That's it.